The Williams' white two-story house in a quiet Boston suburb was surrounded by a well-maintained garden blooming with seasonal flowers. On a chilly October morning, Carol Williams woke up feeling the morning's sunlight streaming through her bedroom window. The bedside clock showed 6:30. After quietly checking her husband's breathing, she slipped out of bed. While brewing coffee in the kitchen, Carol organized the day's schedule in her mind. Working in the marketing department of a cosmetics company, she needed to review final materials for an upcoming product presentation. Though she struggled daily to balance work and family, she still felt fulfilled. "Good morning, Mom," said 10-year-old Lily, appearing in the kitchen with a slightly sleepy face. Her light brown hair still had bedhead, but her intelligent eyes already sparkled with curiosity for the day ahead. "Good morning, early bird," Carol smiled, stroking her daughter's head. "What would you like for breakfast?" "Pancakes." "Yes," Lily answered, her eyes brightening. "I'm preparing for the science fair today. My teacher was interested in my project." Carol listened to her daughter while making pancake batter. Lily was a smart, thoughtful child with knowledge about technology that rivaled many adults. She planned to present an energy-saving project using the latest smart home devices at the science fair. "Good morning, my two beautiful ladies," Thomas appeared while Carol and Lily were preparing breakfast. He had succeeded as a real estate investor and provided his family with a comfortable life. His imposing figure and warm smile were among the reasons Carol had fallen in love with him 15 years ago.
Can you imagine making $10,000 a month just from YouTube, all from home? That's exactly what I did with redditstories. No face, no voice. Check the link in the description if you're curious.
"Good morning, Dad. Are you looking at properties today?" Lily hugged her father. "Yes, I'm scheduled to see 2 new properties today," Thomas answered, kissing his daughter's cheek. "But as promised, we'll spend the weekend together as a family. Should we go see a movie? Or visit an amusement park?" "The amusement park," Lily exclaimed, unable to hide her excitement. During breakfast together, they enjoyed their usual conversation. Thomas enthusiastically discussed new investment opportunities, Carol shared happenings at her company, and Lily talked about adventures with friends at school. Their conversation was filled with laughter and warmth. Before Carol left for work, Thomas placed his hand on her shoulder. "I hope you can come home early tonight. I want to help with Lily's science project." "I'll try to get back as soon as I can," Carol replied with a smile. She appreciated Thomas's efforts to make time for their family. Carol spent the day busy preparing for her presentation. Working with colleagues to develop strategies for a new product line and finalizing marketing materials. Though Lily's science fair lingered in the back of her mind, she told herself to focus on work. When Carol returned home that evening, Lily and Thomas were preparing for the project in the living room. Parts and tools were scattered across the floor, and they were engrossed in discussion. "Mom, look!" Lily rushed over when she saw her mother. "Dad and I improved the smart home device. Now it can track electricity usage in real time." Carol smiled at her daughter's enthusiasm. "That's wonderful. Your teacher will be impressed." That night, as the three of them planned their weekend over dinner, Thomas mentioned he had been busy recently with a large investment deal and his time at home had decreased. He was trying to make weekend family time a priority. "Actually," Thomas said with some hesitation, "I might have more business trips starting next week. There are new properties in Chicago and New York." Carol felt a twinge of loneliness but nodded understandingly. "Do your best at work. We'll be here supporting you. But you'll definitely come to the science fair, right?" Lily asked her father, a hint of worry in her eyes. Of course, Thomas affirmed. I'll be there no matter what. 2 weeks later, Lily won first prize for her technology project at the science fair. Thomas and Carol were proud of their daughter's success and decided to celebrate as a family. However, during their meal at a restaurant, Thomas's phone rang. He answered with an apologetic expression. "I'm sorry," he said after hanging up. "An urgent matter has come up. I need to go to the office right away." Lily's smile dimmed slightly, but she nodded understandingly. "That's okay, Dad. But let's watch a movie together tomorrow, okay?" "I promise," Thomas gently stroked his daughter's head. "I'm really sorry." That night, Carol and Lily ate ice cream and watched a movie, just the two of them. Carol felt a slight loneliness looking around the living room without her husband. However, seeing her daughter's smiling face beside her filled her heart with warmth. She pulled Lily closer, determined to cherish this moment. As November arrived, Boston rapidly took on its winter appearance. Trees shed their leaves, and thin frost covered the ground in the mornings. Carol sighed as she looked out the window at the heavy gray sky and finished her cold coffee. Thomas had been going out more frequently on weekends, citing big investment deals. He would leave Friday night and return Sunday evening, sometimes not until Monday morning. Carol increasingly spent weekends alone with Lily and began worrying about the diminishing time between husband and wife. "When is Dad coming home?" Lily asked, stirring her breakfast cereal. "He should be back this evening," Carol smiled at her daughter. "He said he has an important contract today." Lily nodded silently. Something seemed to be on her mind, but she quickly returned to smiling. "I decided to join the computer club at school. The teacher gave me special permission. It's usually only for 5th graders and up." "That's wonderful," Carol replied, grateful for the change of topic. That night, Thomas returned as scheduled. Though he looked tired, there was excitement in his eyes. "Carol, I need to talk to you," he sat his wife down on the living room sofa. "This deal was a huge success. I managed to get a property in Chicago's redevelopment area at a bargain price." "Congratulations," Carol smiled, though her smile was somewhat stiff. "I wanted to ask you something," Thomas continued. "Don't you feel like our lifestyle has been a bit stagnant lately? Shouldn't we be more adventurous?" Carol was puzzled by her husband's words. "What do you mean?" "I think our life is very fulfilling." "Of course, I'm not saying it's bad," Thomas quickly added. "Just that we might explore more possibilities. Take this house, for instance. We've lived here for over 10 years, but have you ever thought about moving to a bigger, newer house?" Carol pulled back slightly. "I like this house. Lily grew up here, and we have so many memories." "Of course, but don't you think change is necessary sometimes?" Thomas said, unable to hide his irritation. "Anyway, this is a present for you." He took a small box from his pocket. When Carol opened it, she found keys to a new luxury car. "Thomas, this is..." "It's the new Audi model. I thought it would be perfect for you," Thomas said proudly. "It's scheduled for delivery tomorrow." Carol expressed her thanks, but felt uncomfortable inside. She had no particular complaints about her current car, and they had never made such expensive purchases without discussing it as a couple before. The following week, Thomas suddenly proposed renovating the house. "Let's completely renovate the kitchen and bathroom. We'll install the latest equipment, and it will increase the house's value." "Do we really need such extensive work?" Carol was confused. I'm thinking about the future, Thomas answered, sounding somewhat irritated. Besides, we have sufficient funds. It's just moving some money from the bank account. That night, Carol checked their financial situation on her computer. To her surprise, large sums had been moved from their joint account. According to Thomas, it was a temporary fund transfer for investment, but Carol's concerns grew. Meanwhile, Lily quietly observed her father's changes. One day, she borrowed Thomas's smartphone for a school project. While looking for photos, she accidentally saw a message from an unknown woman. Looking forward to our dinner plans. Shall we go to the same hotel as last time? Lily's small heart pounded heavily. She immediately understood the meaning but pretended not to have seen the message. She returned the smartphone to its original place and went back to her room, desperately trying to decide what to do. She didn't want to worry her mother. But was it right to say nothing? That weekend, Thomas went out again. While growing increasingly anxious about her husband, Carol decided to focus on her own career. She volunteered for a new project and began working longer hours at the office. "Mom, are you busy lately?" Lily asked while helping prepare dinner. "Yes, a little. But I'm fine," Carol smiled with a tired expression. "A new project has started. I'm sure you'll be proud of it." Lily stared at her mother. "I support you, Mom. No matter what happens." Carol was a bit surprised by her daughter's words but hugged her gratefully. "Thank you. I'm so happy to have you." Lily was watching her father's changes and beginning to consider taking action. On a chilly December afternoon, Carol returned home earlier than usual for an emergency meeting at her company. When she opened the front door, the house was completely quiet. Lily was still at school, and Thomas was supposed to be away on business. He had left 3 days ago for an important deal in Chicago. Carol took off her coat and entered the living room. Then she noticed a brown envelope on the dining table with her name written in her husband's handwriting. With a sense of foreboding, she hesitantly picked up the envelope. Sitting in a chair at the table, she took a deep breath and opened the envelope. Several documents slid out. The first one she saw was a sales certificate for their house, dated a week ago. The buyer was a company name she didn't recognize. And next, divorce papers. Thomas's signature was already on them. Carol's hands trembled. She stared at the documents in disbelief. Then she noticed a small white card. It was a note from Thomas. "All according to plan. Taking everything from you and starting a new life with my new girlfriend. Goodbye, Carol." The cold words burned into her eyes. Carol's mind went blank at the sudden betrayal and loss of assets. Was this a joke? A nightmare? But the documents before her were undeniably real. Carol tried to stand but felt dizzy. She collapsed into the chair and covered her face with her hands. 15 years of marriage. Everything they had built together. And their beloved daughter Lily. What did Thomas intend to do about them? She didn't know how much time had passed when the sound of the front door opening brought her back to reality. Lily had returned from school. "Mom, I'm home." Lily's cheerful voice echoed in the hallway. Carol hurriedly wiped away her tears. She didn't want to worry her daughter. But there wasn't time to put away the documents. "Mom?" Lily entered the dining room and noticed her mother's condition. "What's wrong?" "Lily." Carol could barely squeeze out her voice. Lily saw the documents in front of her mother. She quietly approached the table and looked at the divorce papers and sales certificate. Then she read the note card from her father. Her expression hardened for a moment, then changed to a complex mix of sadness and determination. Mom. Lily sat next to her mother. It's going to be okay. Carol was surprised by her daughter's composed manner. She was remarkably calm for a 10-year-old. Your father has. Carol choked on her words. She didn't know how to explain the situation to her daughter. I know, Lily said quietly. I noticed Dad had been acting strange lately. Carol was speechless. Her daughter seemed to understand the situation better than she had realized. Lily silently took a smartphone from her backpack. Mom, she doesn't know yet. What do you mean? Carol asked in confusion. Dad is being deceived, determination shone in Lily's eyes. I investigated that woman. Carol stared at her daughter in surprise. Lily operated her smartphone and opened a social media page of a woman. Her name is Beth, but it seems her real name is Elizabeth Morris. She's the woman from the messages I found on Dad's phone, Lily explained. I found her account and monitored it. Then I found these posts. Lily scrolled through the screen and showed her mother photos of the woman with multiple men. She also showed messages later posted by those men saying they had lost everything. She's a con artist, Mom, Lily declared. Dad is being deceived. Carol stared blankly at the smartphone screen. Lily, how did you? I've been curious since the day I found the messages on Dad's phone, Lily answered in a small voice. But I didn't want to worry you. So I decided to investigate myself. Lily continued operating her smartphone. I'll send her a short message. Before Carol could stop her, Lily typed something and sent it. The content was simple. Should I tell Dad about the men I found in your social media posts? Lily. Carol exclaimed in surprise. What are you? Before she could finish, Carol's smartphone began ringing. Thomas's name appeared on the screen. Carol and Lily exchanged glances. Carol answered the phone with trembling hands. Carol, are you home? Thomas's voice was distraught. I'm coming right back, please don't go anywhere. Carol held the phone with her confused mind. What's happening? Thomas, explain. I can't say over the phone. I'll be right back. Is Lily there too? Yes, she just got back from school. Thank you. Thomas's voice was filled with relief. Both of you, please wait there. After the call ended, Carol stared at Lily. How did you? Lily sat beside her mother and held her hand with her small one. Mom, I learned a lot in the computer club. Like how to investigate social media. When Dad started acting strange, I thought there must be a reason. Carol looked again at the documents in the envelope. But is the house really sold? What will happen to us? It'll be okay, Lily said with strange confidence. I found out more. But let's wait for Dad to arrive. 40 minutes later, they heard the front door open. Thomas rushed in, out of breath. His face was pale, and sweat beaded on his forehead. Entering the living room, he saw Carol and Lily. The documents on the table. And his note card. Carol, Lily. Thomas choked on his words. This is. I did it, but it wasn't me. Sit down, Thomas, Carol said, regaining her composure. Tell us everything that happened. Thomas sat on the sofa with shaking legs. Beth, no, Elizabeth contacted me. She was crying and confessed everything. She said she received a message from Lily. Lily nodded silently. She. Thomas searched for words. She completely manipulated me. We first met as an investment consultant. She was knowledgeable about the real estate industry and gave excellent advice. Then gradually, it became a personal relationship. Carol continued listening despite the pain. She prompted me to end my relationship with Carol, saying I should start a new life. I resisted at first, but she skillfully targeted my dissatisfactions and weaknesses. And selling the house was also her instruction. She said it was to protect assets. But why that note? Carol asked with a trembling voice. Thomas couldn't raise his face. She dictated what I should write. She said I should make a clean break, with no possibility of going back. Dad, Lily quietly spoke up. What she did to you, she's done to other people too. Lily took out her smartphone and began explaining in detail what she had found on Elizabeth's social media. She had taken photos with at least 3 men in the past, and those men later posted that they had lost everything. Also, she used multiple names like Beth, Liz, and Ellie. During her investigation, Lily had also found records of Elizabeth being arrested for fraud in the past. How did you find all this? Thomas was amazed at his daughter's investigative skills. I learned how to research public records for a school project, Lily said proudly. And I saw your emails too. I saw the email she sent you saying, let's proceed according to plan. Carol and Thomas were speechless. Their 10-year-old daughter had conducted an adult-level investigation. I saved all the screenshots, Lily continued. And she hesitated slightly. I also anonymously reported her to the FBI's anti-fraud division. What? Carol and Thomas exclaimed simultaneously. I didn't want to worry Mom, so I kept quiet. But I collected evidence just in case. Tears glistened in Lily's eyes. I knew from the beginning that Dad was being deceived. That woman doesn't love Dad. She's after money. Thomas exhaled deeply. Today, I received a panicked call from Beth. Elizabeth. After seeing Lily's message, she confessed everything. That she had other targets, that she was after my assets, and that she had already transferred funds in my name to a separate account. What about the house sale? Carol asked fearfully. It's in the name of a fake company she established. Thomas covered his face. I don't know what to do. First, we need to contact a lawyer, Carol resolved. Though deeply hurt by Thomas's betrayal, she felt saved by her daughter's courage and intelligence. We need to start proceedings to invalidate the house sale. Thomas nodded. I'll contact them right away. And the police too. The FBI anti-fraud division might also contact us, Lily added. I included all the evidence with my report. Carol hugged her daughter. You are truly, incredibly brave and smart. Mom. Lily looked into her mother's eyes. Dad isn't a bad person. He was just deceived. That's why I kept collecting evidence. Thomas couldn't hold back tears at his daughter's words. Lily. I'm sorry. For hurting you both. What will you do now? Carol asked Thomas. Her voice mixed with anger and sadness. Restore everything, Thomas answered with determination. Use all legal means to get our house back. And He looked at Carol. If you'll forgive me, I want to repair our family. Carol silently looked down. It wasn't something easily forgiven. But Lily's small hand held hers. Mom, Lily said quietly. Let's solve this together. Carol took a deep breath. First, let's resolve the legal issues. After that, I'll need time to think. Thomas nodded. I understand. Whatever happens, I promise to protect you both. Lily looked at her parents. In her intelligent eyes, a small light of hope glimmered. I knew from the start that Dad was being tricked. Because Dad couldn't write such cold words. Carol and Thomas quietly shed tears at their daughter's words. Though their family's future remained uncertain, now that the truth was revealed, they could see a path forward. 6 months later in spring, Boston's trees were wrapped in fresh green. Carol took a deep breath as she looked out at the garden from the living room window. The past 6 months had been the most challenging period of her life but also brought many lessons. On the living room table lay documents from the court. It was a notification of the judgment against Beth, or more accurately, Elizabeth Morris. Based on information provided by Lily and testimony from other victims including Thomas, Elizabeth had been charged with fraud and sentenced to 6 years in prison. Mom, look! Lily rushed in excitedly after returning from school. First prize in the science contest. Carol hugged her daughter. Congratulations! Your hard work paid off. Lily proudly held up her certificate. Her science project was about social media analysis and digital investigation. Her experience had evolved into creative academic research. I want to tell Dad too, Lily said, lowering her voice slightly. Carol smiled. Of course. Let's celebrate together at dinner tonight. Thomas and Carol were living separately. A few weeks after the family crisis, Thomas voluntarily moved to a different apartment, leaving the house to Carol and Lily. He worked with the legal team to recover the property Elizabeth had swindled, spending much time on the process. The house ownership was restored to its original state by court decision. During this separation, they attended counseling and attempted to repair their relationship. It wasn't an easy journey, but both were seriously committed. Thomas carried deep regret for betraying Carol's trust but continued making amends little by little. At dinner time, Thomas arrived. His arms held a bouquet and a small present for Lily. Congratulations on the science contest, he said, hugging his daughter. You have a truly special talent. Thanks, Dad, Lily replied happily. The three spent time together as a family for the first time in a while. The conversation was a bit awkward, but without the tension of before. After dinner, Lily went to her room, giving her parents time to talk. There's been progress. Carol placed new documents on the table. The procedure to return part of the property Elizabeth swindled to the victims has begun. The lawyer contacted me. Thomas sighed with relief. Finally, an end is in sight. Thomas, Carol said quietly. I've been thinking about our relationship too. Thomas looked at her with a tense expression. We can't go back to normal right away. Carol carefully chose her words. But I'd like to start again, slowly. For Lily's sake, and for our own. Tears welled in Thomas's eyes. Carol, thank you so much. I swear I'll never hurt you again. At that moment, Lily peeked from the stairway. She had probably been listening to her parents' conversation. Hope shone in her eyes. So families can start over even after mistakes, Lily said in a small voice. Carol and Thomas looked up at their daughter and smiled simultaneously. Carol nodded. Yes. Perhaps a true family isn't just about blood or marriage, but about protecting and supporting each other. Lily came down the stairs and sat between her parents. I love you both. The three held hands. Their family had overcome a great trial and was about to make a new beginning. Outside the window, the gentle spring breeze swayed the fresh green trees, seeming to bring new hope. Carol looked at her daughter and husband, beginning to have hope for the future. She was no longer afraid. Whatever storms might come, they would surely overcome them. Because they were a family that truly cared for each other in the real sense of the word.